Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to this 2v2 showdown featuring myself and Shadow Online Gaming taking on Dov Plays and Gojira. As far as the matchup goes, it's going to be myself as the Beastmen. Shadow will be playing the Warriors of Chaos. He's going to be handling most of the infantry. You can see here in the front line, it's going to be pretty much actually all Marauders, it looks like. So relatively low tier chaff level infantry, but we do have a very mobile force. So I have a bunch of chariots. I think I have 3 chariots in total. 2 of them are going to be the Razor Gore chariots, and then my Shadowcaster is also on the chariot, which is pretty nice. You have like a chariot goon squad, you can slow down things that are chasing the chariots with the Melkoths. You can also kind of butter up targets that you're really going after, lowering their melee defense with the enfeebling foe. So definitely a good idea to run your caster when you're playing the Beastmen on a chariot with the other chariots, if you're going to play that way. On top of that, I do have 3 Centaurs with the throwing axes, and over here, Shadow Online Gaming does have a massive skirmish force as well. So he has a couple groups of Marauder Horsemasters, which are actually pretty beastly. They have 37 missile damage, okay combat stats in melee with a charge bonus of 30, so hopefully they'll be able to catch these gut runners from, I think it's Dov. I'm not sure who is playing Skaven between them, but hopefully he can catch the Skaven forces. So our main line's a little bit lower tier, kind of a more chaff level infantry. It's going to be led by Sigvald and Morker. So at the very least, both of our lords are very tanky. So even if, the Chaos Marauders just get buckled in the front line and run over by the Greenskins, because keep in mind, they have Trolls, they have Black Orcs, and plus the Wa ability is also going to be buffing these Skaven. So a lot of power coming from over there. But even if we get run over in the front line, these guys are going to regenerate and hopefully will last for, quite some time. Over here, Shadow does have more chariots, so it's kind of a bit of a Surtha Ek inspired build here. I think in total we probably have like 5 or 6 between us. He does have a couple of groups of the standard Chaos chariots, some Poison Warhounds to support them and make sure they don't get bogged down by infantry and Rat Ogres. And then I also do have a couple of mobile forces myself. So Centaurs, just standard. You don't really need the armor-piercing Centaurs with the great weapons in this matchup. Against both Greenskins and Skaven, these guys are probably the ideal choice. So there's 2 groups of these. One group of Centaurs here, one on the far side as well. Are they actually both right here? Yeah, they might actually both be here. But yeah, 2 Centaurs in total, as well as 2 groups of Chaos Poison Warhounds. And then we also have our super heavy weapon here in the back, the Eye of More sleeve, which is pretty good. It's a little bit risky because the Skaven do have like 3 or 4 Warp Lightning cannons, but the range is 400. I think Warp Lightning is actually a little bit farther. So let's go ahead and check. But yeah, 430. So hopefully they don't target it. That's pretty much all I have to say. So yeah, that's it for our army. Very mobile, very aggressive. And for the Skaven and the Greenskins, it's going to be a little bit more defensive. You can see they have more Ghost Mage Marauders, a very heavy skirmish core, and I believe these are the forces of Dov as Skaven. He does have a Night Runner, so they're going to be kiting back though, because the Horsemasters are coming in, the Beastmen mobile forces, Centaurs and Hounds are coming in chariots, so he definitely needs to flee. For the main line, Gojira, just Black Orcs across the board with Trolls, so this is a Pound Town front line. This is going to be very tough to get through. We're going to need to get some huge value from our chariots there. A bunch of Warp Lightning cannons. I think in total, yeah, it looks like there's 3 all guarded by Clanrat Spears, so it's going to be hard to get on those guys. He's got Slingers up in the hills, a Doom Wheel, and another contingent of Night Runners. So without further ado, guys, let's get this battle on the way. So the first volley, check out these Warp Lightning cannons, just coming in and just doing the absolute business to this Chaos Sorcerer. Although it wasn't a lot of damage, it was more of like making a statement, just kind of knocking him over. But if I'm not mistaken, the Warp Lightning cannons then switch onto my caster. Although actually, yeah, my caster took 1 massive volley from those, and I had to like run behind these rocks here. But we're able to catch some of these guys. The Poison Hounds are just sweeping in, and you can see we get a really good wrap on the Skaven. The Marauder Horsemaster is definitely being a little bit stronger in melee than the, I think they are, than standard Horsemen. Yeah, I'll have to check that after the game. But regardless, the Hounds are coming in here, getting a good charge, and the Centaurs are following up, but the Trolls of the Greenskins are going to come out to join their rat friends and hopefully be able to save them. But I don't know, this is a pretty big force, with the Chariots coming in as well. Our frontline forces are pushing in, and on the far side, we also have a pretty similar attack. So Poison Hounds, Centaurs are going to be leading the charge with these Chariots, so it's definitely nice. Chariots can get pinned down by enemy Cav as well as Rat Ogre, so having this big group of like mobile defensive Cav to protect them is going to be quite useful. So some of these Hounds from Shadow Online Gaming do get into the Skaven Slave, so very well played by him. The Doom Wheel is going to come out and try and run some of those guys off. Warp Lightning still just blasting into my Shadowcaster, trying to snipe him. He's definitely a good target. He's big, he's kind of a clunky, so being able to get him down is nice. Some of these Chaos Marauders are going to pile into these Trolls, but the Trolls, for the most part, actually fended us off here. We're going to have to run a little bit. Azag is flying up in the skies, cackling, but some of these Horsemasters with throwing axes. So it looks like one of them did have throwing axes, are really being aggressive, and the frontline engagement is now underway. So the Marauder, Chaos Marauders with great weapons are going to collide with Black Orcs. Black Orcs definitely going to take these guys to town, but at least they have great weapons, so they can put a dent in Black Orcs. It's not going to be a complete wash. So to support his front line, and if the Trolls were able to just fight unimpeded, it would be an absolute massacre. So what I do is I get my Centaurs with throwing axes, and I start peppering down the Trolls. So doing a little bit of damage, but if I sit here and just apply sustained pressure, it's it's going to be an okay situation. So Morker's in there fighting as well. Melkoth's going down. The Exalted Hero of Shadow is going to be pushing in, and I think Exalted Heroes are like one of the coolest looking units in the game. So he's getting in there. Doesn't have the best AP, but it'll certainly give a pretty good presence here in the front. And you can see that the Marauders already buckled, but hey, the Black Orcs also took some damage, so we can't complain. The back line is just complete anarchy. I do get my Centaurs here, and it looks like Shadow's going to be using a Pendulum effect, if I'm not mistaken, from a Shadowcaster. Doesn't do the whole lot of damage, but it definitely looked really cool. You can see the Chaos Warhounds do get in here in the back line. Shadow Online Gaming doing a very, very good job with these Chaos Chariots is running amok, but some of them do get pinned down against this rock, but it's been disrupting the Skaven defensive line, and hence opening up this pocket and allowing me to get in there. But the front line is looking pretty hog wild. The Chariots are just running amok, just running over the Black Orcs, so they're doing a pretty good job. I've basically just been working my way down the line here. You can see Azag up here is tossing up some of the Chaos Marauders, but Black Orcs still holding very strong, definitely a very, very powerful infantry unit. Some of my Hounds did rout, and you can see the battle over here was definitely won by the Greenskins, but, you know, I just left my Centaurs there to kind of keep these Trolls as well as these other supporting units, which I think it's, yeah, just two groups of Trolls kind of busy. But yeah, very even battle. Shadow and I maybe have a slight advantage in the bounce of power. The Chariots have just been running through these Black Orcs. You can see them just riding dirty, and the Chaos Spawn are now here. So I held them in my back pocket for a long time. The Chaos Spawn are now in the front line, hopefully helping out. And the Centaurs with throwing axes have just been sitting here and just picking off Black Orcs. They are a very good answer to Black Orcs or any other armored target. So what's cool about Centaurs is they can also cycle charge very effectively. So the Wa has been popped for the second time in the battle, if I'm not mistaken, going down on the Skaven troops as well. Definitely making Greenskins one of the best 2v2 faction. Black Orcs finishing off these troops, but again, Sigvald's here. There's some Chaos Spawn, so Sigvald plus the Chaos Spawn as well as the Exalted Hero should be able to finish off these Black Orcs. I mean, Chaos Spawn from the Beastmen are definitely a little bit better because they have poison, and although it looks like I'm abandoning Shadow here, leaving him to fight, but I guess he's probably fine. He has a ton of troops rallying here, some Forsaken coming back, and Sigvald has a lot of support, so he should be able to polish off those Black Orcs. On the periphery of the battlefield, the Trolls are coming back towards the middle after their victorious campaign. The Chariot's still just running around, trying to get away from the Doom Wheel, but we are going to be running into Trolls. The Eye of Morsleeve in the distance just dropping some hot fire, and the Throwing Axe is really just doing a ton of work, picking off Trolls and Black Orcs. But you can see Dov plays very good stuff from his high ground position. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi up there is going to be getting some pebble throws into my Centaurs with Throwing Axes. And he's actually able to get my Bray Shaman. So the Trolls, very high mass, very good armor piercing. They're able to fend off the Bray Shaman with the Lord of Shadow, so he's going to have to flee, unfortunately. And the other Centaurs are going to be piling in here. So they come in to block up the Trolls, cover the retreat of these guys, and also allow me to reposition my Centaurs with Throwing Axes a little bit. I have Morsleeve still kind of bombarding and doing a little bit of damage to the Trolls and Black Orcs. But very, very close battle, but look at these Trolls just get picked apart by the Throwing Axes. But the Chaos Forces are still fighting the front line. It's a pretty messy fight, a lot of routing Chaos Forces, but the Exalted Hero is still fighting, which is pretty cool. He's confident, actually, which is surprising. He's surrounded by Trolls, but him and Sigvald might actually be able to win this fight. It's going to be a little bit tough, but he does have the regeneration, especially if Sigvald is taking the brunt of the damage. If the Exalted Hero is taking the damage, he's certainly not going to regenerate and heal unless he has the markings of Nurgle, which probably isn't something we're going to see. I don't know. That'd be cool if you could actually give your heroes like marks of different Chaos Gods in the third game. So the Black Orcs still kind of coming in. I did see Shadow's Lord here was a little bit isolated, making a last stand against these Trolls, although I wouldn't really call it a last stand. It's just a perpetual fight. But the Chariots do come in. We're actually able to break the Trolls with the Chariot Charge, which is pretty cool, and the Overwatch Fire from the Centaurs with Throwing Axes, so pretty happy with that. In the meantime, Gojira back here doing a good job with Azag, just kind of clearing out these scraps. He's very aggressively making sure those Marauder Horse Masters were offline, so that was some pretty good stuff. And this is dangerous. Dov plays and Gojira have done a really good job of just isolating my Lord. So you can see Lord Skrulk is just, he's got his Pimp Cane, Azag's coming in, so Orker is definitely in the wrong neighborhood. And it's, you know, he wandered down that dark street that he shouldn't go down, and he's a little bit isolated here. So you can see that Azag's coming in, and these are some hard-hitting Lords. Skrulk does hit hard, and all of a sudden, Morker does take quite a bit of damage. Rod of Corruption going down as well. I do charge in with my Chariots to try and break these guys to buy some time for Morker, but it's looking a little bit rough. But in the back, it's going very well. These Chaos Chariots must have a ton of kills. 88 here and 70 kills from Shadow's Chariots. He's able to ride through the Gut Runners with poison. And he's definitely causing a lot of trouble in the back line for the Skaven. We're just working our way through the Slingers. My Centaurs are coming back from deep route because Skaven are one of those factions that you really want to punish them for retreating. If you let them regroup, it's like fighting them all over again. So the Throwing Axe is still in relatively good shape for how long this battle's been going on. You can see that the Night Runners are just charging in, so I do see them coming. I'm going to retreat, and then I'll probably get the optimal charge. The Chariot's still just running amok. These things are just awesome right now. Chariots are pretty good against Greenskins because Beastmen can usually like have dominance in regards to the mobility fight. Centaurs just trade better than Orc Boy Biggins. So it's pretty safe to bring Chariots. I mean, Force Goblin Spider Riders and FG of the Get can be pretty good, but yeah, we're getting on these Night Runners. They're shaking. We should be able to, you know, rout them off here with these Chariots. Now we're kind of closing in on the final fight. So the Centaurs are just kind of charging about, just cleaning up whatever they can find here. And yeah, it's looking to be pretty damn close. Sigvald and his buddy over there are trying to catch that Doom Wheel, but you can see the Doom Wheel actually shoots its laser and sends Sigvald flying. It's the eternal problem for these kind of lords. I don't it'd be cool if Sigvald got some sort of amount. In the Ultimate Chaos mod, Sigvald actually has I think it's like a steed of Slanesh or something. It's like some sort of Slanesh unicorn, but that'd be really cool if he could have some sort of a steed, because that would actually make him a really good lord. I mean, aside from, you know, his combat stats are okay, his armor piercing is a little bit low, the regeneration makes him, you know, pretty decent, but why would you take someone like Sigvald? I guess, you know, he's on a different faction. But Morker, for example, is a very similar, you know, at least he has some utility abilities like the summoning. But anyways, I do get the Warp Gaze. So the Eye of Morsleeve has made its way into the battlefield. You can see the Doom Wheel blasting away that Exalted Hero as it tries to catch up to this bad boy. But the Eye of Morsleeve actually uses the Warp Gaze and pins down the Doom Wheel. It's definitely a very cool utility ability on this unit here. The Doom Wheel might be able to get away here, but it looks like the bounce part is starting to teeter in the favor of Shadow and I, as the last of the forces are kind of being mopped up. The Centaur is definitely doing very good on cleanup duty. The Marauder Horsemen here making a noble sacrifice to try and pin down that Doom Wheel, but you can see it's actually shaken because of the mighty Eye of Morsleeve as it kind of just prances in here. Definitely going to be laying a bit of a whooping. I mean, it has 47 melee attack right now, although I think it's poisoned or there's something lowering it, but yeah, it can hit pretty hard against this filthy little rat here in the pits. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. Centaur's just charging through some of these rats in the forest, just cleaning up the scraps. You can see Azag's trying to make a last stand and get some terror routes, but the Beastmen chariots and Centaurs are coming in. Morker, I think, is dead, but Prince Sigvald is definitely, you know, he's going to be tough to kill. Like, if this went to a really long, atrocious battle and they somehow came back, it would be really hard for Skrulk and, well, yeah, I guess him and Azag could probably team up on Sigvald, but either one of them he could probably outduel with his, you know, perfect health. It's kind of cool how, like, you know, Sigvald, known for his perfection, is still, like, unscathed, nowhere near his healing cap towards the end of this battle. My Centaurs are going to collapse in, get a good surround on Azag. I did have some Poison Hounds as well, and you can see he's going to be dragged into the mud by these filthy beasts. That is going to be all she wrote. So very well played to all the competitors. It was a really fun game, back and forth for sure. It was it felt much longer, you know, than it was. When we were playing, I was like, oh man, it's only been like 8 minutes in the game, but it felt like it was like a 20-minute just back and forth battle. But I really like games like that where one player handles like one aspect of the battle. But granted, Shadow brought a very diverse army. He had Chaos Marauders in the front line, which, you know, I really was like, I wonder if our front line's going to last. But they actually held pretty long, and with the support of the chariots here, who got 106 and 95 kills, and then for my chariots, we got 58, 52. We were able to, you know, do pretty well in the Black Orc front line, plus our skirmisher units, including the Hounds, the Horsemen, and all of those different supporting units on top of my Centaurs with Poison Hounds, 103 kills. We were able to really chase down the Skaven army, which was very heavily focused on skirmishers. And then, you know, from there, we kind of leaked in and got on top of their artillery pieces, because it was just a couple clan rats really defending those. So yeah, it was a great game. As far as the armies, Dov's army, definitely pretty scary stuff. Skaven slingers, like when you layer them on top of each other, it's just like, there's always just like constant pebbles just like hitting your characters, and it really adds up. So I like that army from Dov. I mean, definitely let the Greenskins have the front line. Like, Greenskins are that's what they're known for. Their front line is just heavy metal. They're immune to psychology, so they're not going to terror out to anything. And they're just absolute gangsters. So that was definitely a very cool front line. And the trolls, yeah, trolls were cool. A little bit risky, of course, because they're weak against missiles. But again, Chaos and Beastmen aren't factions known for good missile play. So if there's a time to bring them, it's probably going to be against these factions. So that was some very fun stuff. So again, very well played to everyone in the game. Shadow Online Gaming, Dov Plays, and Gojira. There will absolutely be links to their channels in the comment section below. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this hot 2v2 action. We'll see you guys next time.